What's going on? Welcome back to 100% NUFC. You're watching Toon Weekly episode 14. I hope you're all doing really well. Now, if you're new around here, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe as I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. That would be a great milestone for me. And if you can offer any support, I would really appreciate it. Now, just before I jump into the news, if you haven't seen the Burnley preview already, go along and check it out. You'll be watching it on the day of the match as I'm recording this on a Tuesday morning, going into the afternoon. And let me know in that video or in this video what formation you at Rafa Benitez will pick against Burnley, the players that he'll choose. Would you like to see Kennedy start? And your score predictions down below. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Newcastle if you don't want to watch the preview. Now, let's cast your mind all the way back to last week on Tuesday night. It announced that Newcastle United made their first signing of the January market, albeit it's a loan signing from Chelsea until the end of the season. It's Brazilian left-back Kennedy. He's a good centre-back, but is he better than what we've already got? Well, that will remain to be seen. He's probably more or less cover for Dummett and Mankio if something goes wrong. You know, he can't half attack. He's somebody who likes to get forward, but you know, people do complain about Dummett that he only gets forward so much and then doesn't track back enough. I think Kennedy will offer you something like what Yamat did, where he'll get forward, he'll like to attack the goal because we are lacking so much going forward. But at the same time, we need him to get back as well because we are going to be vulnerable at the back when it comes to, you know, playing against the likes of Chelsea, Man City, all these big clubs with, you know, great attacking power. Now, you know, he's on loan to the end of the season with an option to buy. Well, that's what I was reading anyway. A lot of Newcastle fans were like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. You know, he's going to go back to Chelsea. But there was something said in his contract where if he plays so many games, he will then be able to be bought from Chelsea. But if Chelsea want to keep him beyond the summer, and if they've got plans to play him next season, well, that's up to them. I mean, it's their player at the end of the day. But let's just hope he has a successful debut, play for Burnley, or which you should do today. And you let me know your thoughts of the signing of Kennedy on loan at the end of the season. Also, on Wednesday, there was a reserve match between Newcastle United reserves and PSV reserves in the Premier League Cup. Now, this was the Victor Fernandez show. You know, Victor Fernandez is someone we've signed as a young lad. He's a Spanish international winger, going on to the real potential of getting into Newcastle's first team, and he scored some great goals against PSV. We beat them by 3-1, and it was just a really good game all round. I don't know what happened in the Premier League Cup, whether or not Newcastle qualified or not, because I haven't really checked, but we won the game 3-1, and it was a fully deserved result. I think we could have scored a fourth for the goal that we scored. For me, it did cross the line. It looks as if it did cross the line, but it didn't really matter too much as Newcastle United got the result in the end. Going into the matchday programmes over the weekend, you know, Newcastle were away to Chelsea. I did mention, talking of loan signings, that Lewis McNall, who was on loan at Gateshead, has scored for Gateshead. He scored against Maidstone United over the course of the weekend. He scored after the first 5 minutes, which is great for the young lad. You know, he's got to go and play non-league football. He's not playing reserve team football anymore, which I think is great for his potential. As I mentioned this last week, he needs to be playing football, regular football, competitive football, against teams like Leyton Orient, teams against Maidstone, Hartlepool, you name it. And then if he gets better, then he can go and get promoted to League 2 and League 1, just like we did with Adam Armstrong. But then obviously Gateshead were pegged back to 1-1, but they scored late on at the death, and it wasn't Lewis McNall, but they went and won the game, you know, neighbours Gateshead just down the road. I don't class them as local rivals, you know, they're a club that we like to help out. We like to send players out on loan to them and help them out and try and hopefully see them back in the Football League in the next years to come. You know, Steve Watson as well, you know, ex-Mag. It's good to see that he's got the manager's job at Gateshead, a local club just, you know, across the water from us, and hopefully he has a successful time at Gateshead and pushes them on, and he must see potential in, you know, Lewis McNall, and hopefully Lewis McNall kicks on and scores the goals that are going to help Gateshead potentially try and get to the playoffs. Yes, it looks like a long shot for them, but you just never know with added firepower, and they've still got time to sign more players too. Now, Newcastle United played away to Chelsea in the FA Cup on Sunday at Stamford Bridge. It was a fourth round of the FA Cup, and I said in the preview that I'd like to see Newcastle be a bit more defensive, let it be a lot more calmer on the ball, use the ball really well, because the last time I was at Stamford Bridge we lost 3-1. We went out to Chelsea and, you know, we took the lead 1-0. If we'd actually scored that second goal, then it could have been a totally different game. I'm talking the league game at the start of December. But you know what? The way we played against Chelsea on Sunday, we played well for 45 minutes. I mean, you know, the passing was there, the defending was great, we were getting forward, we were creating opportunities. John Joe Shelby, had one at Caballero, which he pushed around the post. And Bemba had a header as well, and Gay was causing problems, but Chelsea were just picking them off for their quality, just lapse of concentration, with Kieran Clark twice, and Lascelles as well. You can blame him for, the couple of goals as well. For me, I don't know why Kieran Clark is so far forward, and he's give the ball to Hazard. The last person you want to give the ball to was Eden Hazard, who was literally just squared it across to Batshuayi, and he's made it 1-0. Same thing you could say with the second goal. Where's Kieran Clark? The bearing on goal, shot by Batshuayi, which is taking a deflection off, Lascelles, and it's 2-0 to Chelsea at half time. You've got an uphill task from there, and you just wonder to yourself, it's a bit cruel considering that we had the fair chances in the game. I think we had something like 5 shots on target. They had 2, and they've scored 2 goals. But that's what quality gets you. Chelsea are a world-class team with world-class players, and they're challenging for honours this season. We just don't have the team to compete with these big clubs, and it's just a shame because our owner doesn't show any ambition. And if he did show any ambition, then we would have players through the door which might be good enough to compete with Chelsea in the FA Cup. I felt it was a good opportunity for us. I'm not saying that we're going to win the FA Cup, but if we give it our best shot, you never know if we'd scored first. It could have been a totally different game, but second half, a bit of a drab second half. Newcastle didn't really do anything. We just sat back, soaking up the pressure from Chelsea. They didn't do a great deal, to be fair, because they didn't have to. They didn't have to up the gears. They pretty much played to our level, just stroking the ball around really nicely. And then the moment of quality from Alonso with a free kick to beat Darlow was fantastic and make a 3-0. Being an ex-Mackham, it doesn't matter who you are, who you play for. If you score a good free kick like that, then you deserve to be clapped like I did on Sunday. And that pretty much killed it off. We didn't show any attacking intent that second half, which was disappointing, especially for the fans that travelled down there. I know how that feels because I was there a few months ago, and to lose like that, it's not good. Now, we're out the FA Cup. We've now got to switch our attentions to the Premier League. We've mentioned Burnley already. We've got them on Wednesday at St James's Park. A must-win game, in my opinion. We've got to start winning games now. We need to stop dropping points, because if we keep dropping points that we're doing, we will get relegated this season. And my words, there's about 8 teams this season that are in big trouble. Teams that you wouldn't think that would be in trouble, the likes of Southampton, but they are, and we're in there because we can't score goals. Now, after that, there was talk over the weekend about Jorgensen, not just before the Chelsea game, but after the Chelsea game. Will Jorgensen from Feyenoord be signing for Newcastle? Now, there was talk about a £50 million bid, which got rejected from Feyenoord, and then Feyenoord gave Newcastle until 6 o'clock yesterday, Monday, to put another bid in for Jorgensen. They were looking for something like 20 million plus. Obviously, Newcastle haven't put another bid in because we've now reached that deadline and talks have broken down, and it's disappointing because another one bites the dust, isn't it? And it's a real shame because we need strikers to try and help up the Premier League table, because we are in a really precarious situation. Now, after when that talks have broke down with Jorgensen, we were linked with Daniel Sturridge from Liverpool on loan until the end of the season. Apparently, a bid was put in by Newcastle, which was accepted by Liverpool for another loan deal. He's on wages of about £120 million. Sorry, £120,000. That's a lot of money for someone who was injured. £120,000 a week, and apparently that was covered. Newcastle were going to cover that until the end of the season, and he's opted to play for West Brom. Now, it's come with mixed opinions from the Newcastle fans. Why has he chosen West Brom over Newcastle? I can see one side of it, but at the other side, I'm thinking, why has he, turned down Newcastle for West Bromwich Albion? Newcastle have got 52,000 fans there, great ambition. West Brom, yes, fair enough, they've been in the Premier League a lot longer than us through the promotion. When we last got promoted with them, they've not been relegated in that time. And, Pardew, Benitez, what? Pardew, Benitez, you want to play for that liability called Pardew to play for him instead of Rafa Benitez, but there must be something wrong with our recruitment at Newcastle, because if he's turned down Newcastle to play for West Brom, it speaks volumes. Now, fair enough, on the other hand, you think, right, he's a Birmingham lad, his family's down there, and he wants to play for a team where he's local, which I totally get that, and the guy is injury prone, and what's the odds out he was going to score the goals for us anyway? Yes, we had a little bit of hope that he could do, but if you're injury prone like he is, he's not going to play as many games. He is a very good player on his day. He can score you good goals, he can cause you problems, but he just hasn't been the same player, over the last couple of seasons because of his illness, because of his injuries and stuff like that. And we've now got to scout the market. We have been linked with a goalkeeper called Dubravka from Sparta Prague. I did mention him last week. Same thing, I haven't really heard much about him. You know, we've only got, less than 24 hours to sign someone now, and it's going to be interesting to see who comes through the door. We're being linked with another striker as well. I can't remember his name, but he's from, not the Premier League anyway, he's a young lad. It's a Slovakian league, something like that. Correct us if I'm wrong. He's called, I don't really want to say his name because I don't want to get the name completely wrong, but we're being linked with players who we haven't really heard of, and it's desperate. We need a striker, and because if we don't sign a striker, I'm not being funny, but Dwight Gale, Hosselu, Mitrovic, any other striker that we've got at the club, they're not the answer, and we need someone who's going to kick Newcastle onto that next level because we really are struggling. You know, Gale's not having the chances that you got last season. Yes, the Premier League is a lot more tougher. You've got to be a lot more wiser. You've got to take your chances. You don't get as many as what you will get in the Championship because the quality isn't there. Hosselu is trying his best, but he just doesn't have the quality. I mean, yes, a great goal against Swansea, but he needs to chip in a bit more. Mitrovic can't get a start these days. I don't know what players we'd like to see in the market over the next day or two. I say a day or two. The next 24 hours, because when this comes out, it'll be, Wednesday morning, 9 o'clock. Very frustrating because, Rafa wanted players in by the 20th of this month. We haven't got anybody in apart from Kennedy on loan. I mean, if that's where we're at, then I really fear for us between now and the end of the season. There's fixtures that are coming up. No game is easy in the Premier League. And if we don't sign anybody, shock horror, because we never sign anybody anyway. Especially when it comes to doing deadline day. We don't do deadline day, and it's really, really frustrating. Now, apart from that, it's been rather quiet on the transfer front. Like I say, there's not been a great deal happening. Welcome to being a Newcastle fan, That's just what you get these days. Rafa Benitez is clearly frustrated. Yes, there was talk over the weekend that apparently Rafa Benitez wants to sign a new contract for the next couple of seasons because he wants his future sorted out, and he'll only do that if we sign players. But, if I was Rafa Benitez and he wasn't getting back like other managers do, I would be dignified and stay at the end of the season and go and find somewhere else. I mean, as much as I would like to see Rafa Benitez stay beyond the summer, Rafa Benitez has got a lot more ambition than what we have, and if we don't show any ambition, what's the point keeping a manager like him who could go on and do better? Yes, he's not the same manager as what he was maybe at Liverpool, but at the end of the day, he's got that club pedigree where you can go and win things if you give him the right resources, the right tools to work with. And I just feel like we're letting Rafa Benitez down, and he's not showing that because he's a dignified manager. He's been there and won it all. And we should count ourselves very lucky that we've got Rafa Benitez, the manager that we've got. Yes, the formations, he may get it wrong every now and again, and he might make the odd mistake, but there's no better manager than Rafa Benitez. And I'm not saying that because of, winning things at Liverpool, but he's a well-respected manager. And you look at Pardew, over-the-top football, and I don't like it, and we need to cut that out. Yes, we're a lot more defensive under Rafa Benitez. The only thing I think we need to work on is putting the ball in the back of the net, and with the squad that we've got, is never going to be easy. And that's why I say that we need firepower and quick. You let me know again what players you'd like to see come over the next less than 24 hours. Now, I'm going to build up the Burnley game. I've already done the preview. Like I said at the start of the video, I'm going 2-1 to Newcastle against Burnley. I reckon he'll play 2 up front. I reckon Moreno and Shelby will come back in with, Atsu and Richie. The back four will be Clark and Lascelles with Manquillo and Dummett. In goal will be Caldolo, unless, Elliott's back from his illness, but that remains to be seen. Now, you let me know your score predictions for Burnley, formations, players that you'll pick. Don't forget to hit that like button. It's been your Toon Weekly episode 14. Thank you very much for watching if you have made it this far. Thank you very much for your support once again. How are the lads? And enjoy the game if you're going. There will be a match day experience from Burnley. It will be up after midnight, which will be Thursday morning, as I'll be hanging around the ground doing fan cams. And if you are around, don't forget to pop along and have a chat with the gang. Now we'll speak everything all NUFC from the Burnley game. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all later. Peace out.